To every NOPAT deployed here today, whether you take up arms to further our cause, or to crush it, I ask you to hear me. This battle is a defining moment in our history. It is a date that future generations will have engraved on their hearts. For it is the day NOPATs fought back against the world's imperialist aggressors. Through our victory, we will show the world a new path, a new future. One which puts an end to NOPAT oppression and brings about the liberation of all our people. The struggle to get here has been long and bloody. It has taken many brave warriors from our ranks, families, friends, children. It is in their name that we must not forget the dark days of our past. The planet had warned us for decades of the coming catastrophe. And while feckless technocrats signed hollow accords, the time to act had long passed. We were helpless as the storms ravaged our cities and villages, as the droughts and sickness claimed our crops, as the hellish fires swept an entire continent, destroying everything in their path. The fallout was devastating, enough to spark the Second Great Depression. And who was it that bore the full might of this planetary retribution? It was us, the people. We lost everything. With only ash in our hands, we begged our leaders for help. And when confronted with our suffering, they did nothing. One by one, nations crumbled. And still, they did nothing. Germany's collapse put an end to their charade. The shockwave tore Europe to pieces. Millions were displaced. In our leaders' absence, we banded together. North and South, black and white, young and old. All that mattered was survival. Only then, when faced with a direct challenge to their power, did our leaders act. But as much as their media empires claimed otherwise, it was not to help, but to control. They branded us the non-patrioted. They claimed it was for our own good, so we could be processed, helped. But the name just allowed them to strip us of our rights, persecute us, lock us in cages like animals. The world was fighting for resources, and we were just another resource to be exploited. The history books like to pretend that we turned a corner, that humanity was clawing its way back from the brink. I ask, at whose expense? As they rebuilt their cities on our backs, as they fought their proxy wars, it was with our blood. But let them have their delusion. For when the blackout struck and brought darkness upon the earth, their fantasy was over. I have the evidence. Evidence that I'm releasing to the world. Steadfast Refuge was a secret U.S. program intent on harnessing environmental power to further American interest around the globe. The result was the blackout. Let that sink in. We were almost thrown back to the Dark Ages because of America. Whether it was an accident or not, it makes no difference. This was yet another example of American hubris for which the entire planet was forced to pay the price. Who can tally the full cost of this calamity? How many millions died? How many more live with the trauma? The world was plunged into chaos and paranoia. But in the depths of despair, I saw a glimmer of hope. A chance to take the weapon that caused this destruction and use it for a different purpose. Shearwater would be our salvation. I thought back to my home, here on Riptisveld. How parasitic mining corporations had stripped this land of everything. They left it broken and desolate. I had a dream that I could one day rebuild this land. I could walk the desert and leave an Eden in my wake. With the Shearwater technology, I could make my dream a reality. I could rebuild my home, not just for me, but for all NOPATs. It would be a beacon, a shelter, a place to live free of injustice, oppression, and exploitation. This is what the powerful fear. Something outside their control. Something about which they have no say. A power to match theirs, deciding for itself, forging its own path, its own future. Even now they try to hunt me. Wolf, old friend, I know you are out there. Are you brave enough to face me? Or have you sent your errand boys to do your dirty work? Either way, I am prepared for you. As well as my enemies, I have comrades on the field of battle. The Exodus. I once said this war was the price we must pay for a new world. But not if we turn on each other. That is not how we win. I hope you can see what I'm trying to do here. The future I'm fighting for. Join me. When we win this war, and we will win, then a new struggle will commence. A glorious struggle that will lead us to greatness. This no-pat homeland will welcome all those yearning to be free. The exiled, the dispossessed, the alienated. Once here, they will finally know what it means to belong. We will enshrine the rights of every citizen. None will face persecution for their beliefs or discrimination for their identities. Our liberation is a guiding light to all around the world who suffer under the bondage of their oppressors. I call on all no-pats to fight for unity, for freedom, for Namaqualand!